After being raped by someone she considered a friend, a woman must stand up to the deadly patriarchy of 1300s Paris, France. The Last Duel is not my kind of movie. It's too long, takes place during medieval times, which isn't really my favorite time period for a movie to take place in. However, the incredible production design drew me in, and the brilliant direction and the way that the story is laid out kept me interested the entire runtime and had me thinking about it long after it ended. The story of The Last Duel is told in three roughly 45-minute chunks using the Rashomon method of storytelling, where the audience witnesses the same events from different points of view of everyone involved. We first get to see the story told from the perspective of the knight, portrayed by Matt Damon, whose wife was raped. We then see it through the eyes of the nobleman, portrayed by Adam Driver, who committed the crime. And finally, we get to see the truth from the perspective of the woman who was raped, portrayed by Jodie Comer. Matt Damon and Ben Affleck wrote the script, and it was brought to life by the legendary director Ridley Scott. I have no issues at all with the writing or the direction. I do, however, think that Matt Damon and his mullet, as well as Ben Affleck and his way too white teeth for the 1300s, they felt out of place. There were a couple scenes where those thick Boston accents those guys are known for kind of came through, and I'm pretty sure no one in the 1300s in Paris, France had Boston accents. Now, these two guys, who I generally like in everything that they're in, just kind of felt out of place here. But other than that, the acting is wonderful. Adam Driver and Jodie Comer both are very convincing in their roles. And Ridley Scott, he's great at making movies feel epic. In almost every scene, the background characters are doing something that makes the tone and the setting feel more realistic. It feels like what I imagine Paris in the 1300s felt like. The castles, the landscapes, the clothing, the armor, and the weaponry all look period correct. Everything just looks heavy and dirty. And in some sweeping landscape shots, you get to see Notre Dame in the background that's still under construction. Now, it's never mentioned or really shown up close, but it's just a nice touch that reminds us of how long that magnificent building has been standing in Paris, France. And if you watch closely, there are subtle differences in each of the three retellings of the story. And the thing is, I don't think that any of the people whose point of view we're seeing, none of them are lying in their recollection of the events. They just perceive things slightly differently. And even though the movie takes place nearly 700 years ago, there are a lot of parallels with modern day society. The social commentary is pretty strong here. The Last Duel, it's long, and there are some scenes that are uncomfortable to watch, so it's not one that I'll probably revisit often, but it is masterfully made, and it has an expertly told story based on true events that is going to leave the audience with a lot to talk about. This was an expensive movie to make, and it did not do well at the box office. People need to watch these big budget epics that are not based on existing recognizable intellectual property, because if people don't watch these movies, the studios just won't make them anymore, and that would be a shame. 14th century makeup and braids, bloody battles, mullets, Notre Dame under construction, period-accurate horse armor.